A disturbing pattern of exploitation has emerged across Africa, and what you're about to hear will shock you. A Russian man has been secretly filming women in Kenya and Ghana, then posting these videos online where they face ridicule, abuse, and harassment. This isn't just another internet scandal. This represents a new form of digital colonialism targeting African women. Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, and today we're diving deep into a story that the BBC has uncovered, one that reveals how foreign predators are exploiting African women for online content, then unleashing digital mobs against them. We'll examine the broader context of digital exploitation in Africa, analyze the current situation these women face, identify the key players involved, explore different reactions to this crisis, and discuss what this means for protecting African women online. Like this video, help more Africans see this story. Let us begin. To understand this crisis, we need to examine the broader context of digital exploitation in Africa. Africa's rapidly growing internet connectivity, with over 500 million users now online, has created new opportunities but also new vulnerabilities. Digital literacy often hasn't kept pace with access, leaving many vulnerable to exploitation. This pattern of foreign content creators targeting African women isn't new. We've seen Western YouTubers and influencers come to Africa, often presenting themselves as documenting culture or providing aid, while actually exploiting local people for views and revenue. What makes this Russian case particularly insidious is the deceptive nature, approaching women under false pretenses, then weaponizing the footage against them. Kenya and Ghana, both English-speaking countries with growing digital economies, have become particular targets. Kenya has internet penetration of about 90%, while Ghana sits at around 70%. But here is the critical factor: both countries have cultural contexts where being filmed and ridiculed online can have devastating social consequences for women. The historical context matters here. During colonialism, African women faced systematic exploitation and dehumanization. Today, as digital exploitation follows similar patterns, foreign actors extracting value from African people while causing harm to local communities. The medium has changed, but the power dynamics remain disturbingly familiar. Now let us examine the current situation these women face. According to the BBC's investigation, the Russian man approaches women in public spaces, often markets or busy streets, presenting himself as a friendly foreigner interested in local culture. He asks seemingly innocent questions, films brief interactions, then posts these videos on social media platforms where they are subjected to racist and misogynistic abuse. The women interviewed by the BBC described feeling violated and helpless. One Kenyan woman explained how the video affected her family relationships and community standing. A Ghanaian woman reported losing business opportunities after being recognized from the footage. The scale is significant. Some of these videos have received hundreds of thousands of views, generating substantial ad revenue for the perpetrator while causing immense harm to the subjects. What is particularly troubling is how the comment sections become spaces for racist stereotyping and abuse targeting African women specifically. The algorithmic amplification means these harmful stereotypes reach massive audiences. Legal recourse remains limited. Both Kenya and Ghana have data protection laws, but enforcement against foreign nationals operating across borders remains challenging. The women often lack resources to pursue international legal action, while the perpetrator continues operating with impunity. This represents a broader challenge facing Africa's digital governance. As our continent becomes more connected, we need stronger frameworks to protect citizens from digital exploitation. Subscribe for honest Pan-African analysis you want to find on CNN or BBC. Several key players emerge in this disturbing ecosystem. First, there is the perpetrator himself, described as a Russian national who appears to target multiple African countries systematically. His approach suggests this isn't random harassment but a calculated content strategy designed to generate engagement through controversy and prejudice. The social media platforms bear significant responsibility. These companies profit from the engagement generated by controversial content, including harassment targeting African women. Their algorithms often amplify divisive content because it drives user engagement, creating financial incentives for exploitation. Local authorities in both Kenya and Ghana face challenges responding effectively. While both countries have cybercrime units, Cross-border digital crimes require international cooperation that is often slow and complex. The Kenya Communications Authority and Ghana's Ministry of Communications have issued statements, but meaningful action remains limited. Civil society organizations, particularly women's rights groups, are working to support affected women and advocate for better protections. Organizations like the Federation of Women Lawyers in Kenya and Women in Law and Development in Africa are pushing for stronger legal frameworks and support systems. International bodies like the African Union and the United Nations have frameworks addressing digital rights, but enforcement mechanisms remain weak. This case highlights the gap between policy and protection for ordinary African citizens online. The reactions to this story reveal deep divisions about responsibility and solutions. Some focus on individual responsibility, arguing that people should be more cautious about being filmed by strangers. This victim-blaming approach ignores the deceptive nature of the predatory behavior and places burden on potential victims rather than perpetrators. Others emphasize platform accountability, demanding that social media companies do more to prevent and respond to harassment. This perspective argues that companies profiting from African user data and engagement have obligations to protect those same users from abuse. Legal experts stress the need for stronger international frameworks for digital crimes. Current legal structures, developed before social media's global reach, struggle to address cross-border exploitation effectively. Some propose bilateral agreements between African countries and nations where these perpetrators operate. Technology advocates suggest that African countries need to develop indigenous digital platforms with stronger protections for users. This approach would reduce dependence on Western platforms while ensuring African values and protections are built into the technology from the ground up. Women's rights activists emphasize the gendered nature of this abuse, arguing that solutions must address how online harassment specifically targets and silences women. They connect this to broader patterns of gender-based violence that have moved into digital spaces. Pan-Africanist perspectives frame this as digital neocolonialism, where African people become content for foreign exploitation while bearing the cost of abuse and harassment. This connects to broader discussions about data sovereignty and digital independence for African nations. So what does this mean for Africa's digital future? This case represents a critical test of our continent's ability to protect citizens in digital spaces. As internet penetration grows across Africa, these challenges will only intensify without proactive solutions. We need comprehensive approaches addressing legal frameworks, platform accountability, and digital literacy. African countries must work together to develop coordinated responses to cross-border digital crimes targeting our citizens. The economic implications are significant. If African women cannot participate safely in digital spaces, we lose their contributions to our growing digital economies. The harassment creates a chilling effect that silences voices and limits participation. This also highlights the urgent need for African-owned digital platforms and infrastructure. When we depend entirely on foreign platforms with foreign values and priorities, our people remain vulnerable to exploitation and abuse. Educational initiatives must address both digital literacy and digital rights. People need to understand both the opportunities and risks of digital engagement, while knowing their rights and recourses when violated. International solidarity matters here. This isn't just an African problem. Digital exploitation affects vulnerable populations globally. We must work with international partners who share our commitment to human dignity and digital rights. Subscribe and hit the bell for more honest analysis of Africa's challenges and opportunities. The path forward requires multiple strategies working together. First, legal reforms must address gaps in cross-border digital crime enforcement. African countries should develop mutual assistance treaties specifically for cybercrime cases. Second, we need stronger engagement with international platforms, demanding better protections for African users and meaningful consequences for those who exploit and abuse our people. Our governments must use their regulatory power more effectively to protect citizens. Third, supporting affected women must be a priority. This includes legal aid, counseling services, and economic support for those whose livelihoods are affected by online harassment. Fourth, digital literacy programs should include specific training on recognizing and avoiding exploitation, while building skills for safe digital participation. Finally, we must continue building African digital sovereignty, developing our own platforms, frameworks, and solutions that reflect African values and priorities. This case should serve as a wake-up call. As Africa's digital transformation accelerates, we cannot allow our people, especially women, to become targets for foreign exploitation and abuse. The women who spoke to the BBC showed tremendous courage in sharing their stories. Their experiences must drive us toward better protections and justice for all Africans in digital spaces. Check out this next video where we examine Africa's growing tech sector and how local innovations can address these digital challenges. The future of African digital rights depends on our collective response to cases like this one. What do you think should be done to protect African women from digital exploitation? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let us continue this important conversation about building a safer digital future for our continent.